Morning peeps, good morning everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you're all doing very, very well. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you guys are new to the channel. Don't forget as well to like and share the vids. All right, let's see what there is to talk about from the world of boxing today. There's always something, isn't there? Let's start with this one. Eubank Jr. Brook walks around at 180 pounds, will be heavier than me on fight night. Eubank wants this, doesn't he? He wants this fight desperately. Again, we're not hearing Eubank, especially in the last couple of weeks anyway, call out any of the 160 guys. He wants this Brook fight. I don't blame him. There's probably more money on the table for a Brook fight than there is, and I said this before, than there is for anyone else at 160. Golovkin at 160 versus Eubank, is that a bigger fight? Over here, financially, I'm just talking money now, just straight cash. What's the bigger fight? What does more numbers on pay-per-view? Because you're talking about a Sky pay-per-view platform. What does more numbers, Eubank versus Brook or Eubank versus GGG? I think it's Eubank versus Brook. So I don't blame Eubank for chasing this fight anymore. With regards to what Kell Brook walks around at, yeah, but a lot of that's fat. Let's be realistic. I mean, whereas Eubank Jr. walks around, he's probably still got a six-pack. Like, Eubank Jr. is the guy that just walks around with a six-pack constantly, isn't he? Like, he's just solid muscle. So, yeah, I'm not buying that. One's fought at 168. One's gone as heavy as 154. Eubank Jr. is bigger. So that's nonsense. I still think there's a good chance it's Brook versus Conor Benn in the summer. I still think that. Like, if I had to sort of gun to the head what fight will happen next, I think it's more likely it's Brook versus Conor Benn than it is Brook versus Eubank. And if I'm Brook, I'm wanting the Conor Benn fight more than I'm wanting the Eubank fight. I think the money will be around the same. And look, Brook's got more chance of beating Conor Benn than he has of Eubank Jr. Put it that way. That's what I'm trying to say. Did you guys see the Miguel Berchelt fight against Nakatilia from Namibia, I believe he is? Miguel Berchelt, what's happened? It's done, isn't it? It's done. Almost at one stage, you're looking at, I mean, potentially, I don't know, one of the most feared super feathers. No one wanted to fight him. Now he's gone up in weight class to lightweight and just not there. It's not there, it's strange. I'm not quite, he got put down with a jab. Got put down with a solid jab. I mean, he was shipping punches, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I do wonder if that's it for him. It's a big shame that, because again, was a big fan of Berchelt. Had that fight against Oscar Valdez. A lot of people thought he would have beat Oscar and Oscar just bust him up. Remember that 10th round? Jesus Christ, man. And I thought, got up and weight, and they tried to get an opponent where, an opponent that would come and fight, but ultimately an opponent that Berchelt would beat. No. I guess they're going to have to really hit that reset button, or, I hate to say it after someone loses, it's only 2 defeats back to back, but, they might start thinking whether or not he still got it. Yeah, it's a big upset, big upset. What else? You know what? Let's talk about AJ. Let's talk about AJ Usyk. I spoke to Eddie Hearn on Thursday, and I asked him what's going on with this AJ Usyk fight, and it looks like it is done. It's done. I mean, Usyk, I think, announced it on these social media channels as well that, he has left, I think, Ukraine right now. I think he's gone to border in Poland, where he's going to start training camp, and then I'm guessing he'll probably move somewhere else to finish it off. But yeah, it's done. AJ will fight Usyk. They're looking at a date in June. It's so strange because as much as it's weird, AJ is getting more stick. This is when we're a bit silly with this, including me. I've been saying, oh no, AJ should have an interim fight, fight someone easy that you can beat. AJ's going straight to the fire, and we're critiquing him for going straight to the fire. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, this is the one chance where he probably would have been allowed in the eyes of fans to have an interim fight, have a fight against, your Trevor Bryan type, someone like that, right? Someone with, a bit of name value, but someone that he's going to bust up. And he's like, no, give me him again. And we're like, oh, what are you doing? You don't have to fight. So, look, credit to Anthony Joshua for going straight in there. He's going to be a big underdog in this fight. And it's been, I don't think AJ, apart from maybe the Klitschko fight, I can't think of a fight he's ever been an underdog in. I don't even remember if he was an underdog in the rematch with Ruiz. Don't think he was, but he's a big underdog in this one, really big one. So look, credit to him, man. He's going straight for it. Nervous for him, can't lie to you, nervous for him, but I do respect the choice. I do respect it. We'll see what he does. One thing I didn't want him to do, so as much as I wanted him to do an interim fight, I remember at the time I didn't want him to take step aside. I didn't want him to say, okay, Fury, I'll take step aside, you fight Usyk. I didn't want that. And that didn't happen, thank God. But I do feel like a missed opportunity there and not taking the interim fight, just to get your confidence back underneath you. Just get your confidence. But we'll see. We'll see. He's obviously of a different mindset than me. He's clearly like, you know, fuck it, we're going in there. Whatever happens, happens. And I do think we are going to see a better version of AJ. I don't think we're going to see someone to try. And it's difficult because Usyk can dictate how this fight plays out because he's that good. But I still don't think we're going to see an AJ that fights on the back foot and tries to have a boxing match. I think that we are going to see a bit more, you know, if I have to take one, I have to take one, but I'm going to try and make sure you feel this power. And I think it's going to be a good fight. There are rumours, and these are just rumours, by the way, that this fight goes to Saudi Arabia. Look, I guess there's always going to be rumours of fights going to the Middle East just because there is so much money being offered there. But there are sort of strong rumours that this fight doesn't happen at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium or Wembley Stadium or wherever. Doesn't happen. So, yeah, bit disappointing. Hey, that Frank Warren, Dillian Whyte manager argument on TalkSport. Jesus, man. Like, first of all, you know, there's a lot to unpack on this, and I'm not going to try and unpack it all now because there's too much. I'm sure all of you have listened to it. If not, go on to Twitter. You'll find it somewhere. Just type it in, Frank Warren, Dillian Whyte's lawyer. It almost, I now understand a bit as to why Dillian Whyte has signed that contract very, very late. Remember there was this conversation about Dillian Whyte not signing the contract. And I think, look, his lawyer's fucked up here, but I almost feel like he wasn't going to sign the contract because all the things that his lawyer was still asking for, the money in escrow, all the comp tickets, whatever, wasn't on the contract. And they're like, we're not going to sign, we're not going to sign. And then it's almost like they've been forced to sign, but then there's been conversations either before or after the signing. Okay, look, we'll get everything else you want, but just sign. And they've almost been like held to ransom here to sign. That's the way I look at it. Others have looked at it differently, and that's fair, but I almost feel like that's what's happened. Like, and the reason I say this is because, again, let's not forget, we didn't think he was going to sign, and we was like, what's going on with Dillian Whyte? Why is he not signing? Why is he not signing? Now I know why he didn't sign, or why it took so long for him to sign. Now, with regards to the money being in escrow, I mean, you've got to get that in the contract. You've got to get, if you're a lawyer and that's a bit of a problem where you want to, basically the money in escrow, they just want to guarantee that Dillian Whyte's got his money. That's it. They don't want to be chasing no one after the fight. They want to make sure they've got their money. So they wanted that money in escrow, so they can then just say, okay, the money's there, Dillian. You're assured of your pay. You're fine. Because let's be honest, Frank does have some previous, and I feel like maybe that was the reason. I don't know, but I feel like Dillian Whyte's lawyer was a bit embarrassing. I think the whole thing's embarrassing, if I'm honest with you. I think the whole thing's embarrassing. I mean, you're talking about the biggest financially British fight of all time, and you got the lead promoter and Dillian Whyte's lawyer arguing on a radio station. I think the whole thing's a bit crazy. Floyd Mayweather on Tank Davis's contract future. Nothing lasts forever. I'll always love Tank. Looks like that has now come to an end. Remember, there was a time when Floyd had so many sort of names under him, right? So many. Like now, has he got any? I mean, Tank was the last one. You kind of wonder if that's the end of Floyd and that relationship with just fighters. Or look, he'll always have fighters that want to sign to him, but in terms of sort of, remember it was Badu Jack, remember it was Jalen Love, obviously Gervonta Davis, some big names, others as well. And now I can't think of any off the top of my head. I'm sure there's some, and I'm sure you guys are going to say some, but I can't think of any. I'm going to do a separate video about this story. This Devin Haney, George Kambosos, the fight looks like it's done for June 5th. DAZN will have no part in it, and they must be livid, by the way, to have no part in this, because obviously they've built Devin Haney up in the last 3 years. It doesn't look like they're going to be a part of it. But we're going to do a separate video about that anyway. What else have we got here? Good win for Tim Tszyu, beat Terrell. Is it Gelsha or Gosha? I've always said Gelsha for a decision win. Obviously remains Remains unbeaten. Was dropped in that fight. I was trying to say flawed and dropped at the same time, but got the win. Anything else that we can quickly talk about? Sorry, let's have a quick look on Mr. Carpenter's page. Richard Riakporhe beat Zuma. Awful fight. It was. I'm sorry. It was an awful fight. I thought Dan Aziz looked good though. I say looked good, tough, gutted it out. That's Dan Aziz for you, isn't it? Wants Anthony Yard, happy to go into BT Sport. Why not? Why not? I like that. I like Dan Aziz, man. I actually like that fight. Obviously, Tunde was wanting the Joe Smith fight. Obviously, Joe Smith now fighting Beterbiev. So, I mean, there should be a vacant slot there. Why not Dan Aziz? Why not do it? We're seeing Craig Richards versus Joshua Whitesea. It would be nice to see Dan Aziz versus Anthony Yard. It would even be even better to see Callum Smith versus Callum Johnson. Why not? All right, there's a lot on his page. This is Mike Coppender's page about the George Kambosos fight. So we'll do a separate video about that one just because there is a lot going on. All right, guys, anyway, we are out of here. Peace.